We learn 5 different forms for the equation line. So first one is called slope intercept form. So slope intercept form. So in Nasiba, y equals a number. So before x and plus another number. We have M is called the slope. So we have B called the y-intercept. So definitely try to understand the geometric meaning of those two quantities. So talk about a slope, of course, could be positive, could be negative, could be zero, could be undefined. We have 4 different situations you need to fully understand. So in those 4 situations, the straight line go which direction. So if positive slope, if we have a slope of greater than 0, always remember the straight line move this direction. So what that means, we actually get a bigger, y is also get a bigger. So remember the direction is something like this. So how about we have a negative slope? The direction is something like this. Basically, it's move this direction. So what that means we actually get a bigger, y is getting smaller. So how about m equals 0? So of course we have slope equals 0. Always remember, if slope equals 0, that means what? This straight line is horizontal. So this is a horizontal line. So how about m is undefined? In that situation, always remember the straight line is vertical. So make sure you get used to so those 4 situations. So for the slope. How to understand y-intercept? So definitely you understand the geometric meaning of the x-intercept and also the y-intercept. I'm going to quickly draw a diagram. So quickly put down a diagram. So imagine we have the coordinate system here. So this is our straight line. So we call this point is the x-intercept. We call this point is x-intercept because what? Because this point is nothing but intersection of this straight line with the x-axis. That's why we call this as what? X-intercept. We call this point is a y-intercept. So because this point is nothing but intersection point of the straight line at y-axis. So remember the definition, the geometric meaning of the x-intercept and the y-intercept. It's very clear. So for y-intercept, we have what? X coordinate equals 0. For the x-intercept, it's very clear. Y coordinate equals 0. So clearly, so at this point, as you imagine, we do draw the graph for this one. Very clear, where x equals 0. So where x equals 0 is nothing but the point on the y-axis. Clearly, they give us y equals b. That's why for this form, the y-intercept is nothing but this number. So definitely understand also geometric meaning of this one. Next form is also super important. Actually, when you solve the problem, most likely, so you need to use this form, which is called the point slope form. So definitely is something so super important. So you need definitely remember this formula, point slope form. So what that means? That means we have a point, given passing through, and also given a slope. So sigma, given point passing through is, let's call this x1, y1. So slope given is the m. So in that situation, we can quickly build equation line, which is nothing but y minus y1 equals m multiplied with x and minus x1. So definitely you need to remember this. This equation. So this is so commonly used. So you have to remember this one. When you solve the problem, most likely you need to use this formula. But how to understand this one? So actually, all to is a sigma. So this equation need to satisfy both conditions. Passing through the point, this one, that means what? This point must be satisfied this equation. Of course, if you plug in x equals x1, y equals y1, of course, we end up with 0 equals 0. So clearly, this point is satisfied this equation. That means what? This point must be on this line. So how about slope? Again, if you try to figure the slope, so given the equation line, so definitely you need to convert to this form. Right? Y equals a number followed by x and plus another number. So if you write this way, it's very clear. Y equals mx and plus something else. The number before x in this form, we call it slope. So definitely match both conditions. That means what? This is a right form. So definitely you need to remember this one. So important. So another form is called two-point form. So that definitely this is another very common form, which is called the two-point form. So let's try to understand how this works. So clearly, so we have 2 points passing through. Let's call the first point is, so basically we have 2 points. So first point is called as x1, y1. So next point is called x2 and y2. Let's see how to so build equation line passing through those 2 points given. So in the future, whenever you see 2 points so passing through, so definitely right next step is you quickly calculate the slope. So based on those 2 points. So remember, sigma change of y over change of x. So sigma is a sigma change of y over change of x. Of course, you can choose this one minus 1. Of course, over this one minus 1. Okay, you can choose this one minus 1 over this one and minus this one. As long as top bottom one are consistent, as order really doesn't matter. So I'm going to choose this point minus point. That gives us y2 and minus so y1 over x2 minus x1. So after you calculate the slope, so using this formula, of course, now we have slope, we have 2 points. You can choose either point to build equation line. Actually, the final answer is that is same. So that's why it really doesn't matter. You can choose at this point, you can choose so any point, You can choose this one or this one. So starting point looks different. Actually, after you simplify, they must be exactly the same. So at this point in sigma, as 1 point and it plus the slope, of course, we go to what is sigma power, so second form, which is a point slope form. So again, you don't need to remember too many things. Look at here. As all to this, remember this equation, which is our slope, so for the 2 points. After you get here, of course, we choose any point to pass it through a sigma power, so this form. So that is something you need to understand. So we have so another form, which is called the intercept form. So what that means a sigma given the x-intercept and y-intercept. I'm going to put down here. So let's call the x-intercept given equals A, y-intercept given equals B. So let's see how to build equation line given those 2 information. So first of all, if you want to remember formula, we do have a formula for this one, a sigma x over A and plus y over so B equals 1. So another way to sigma this one is, you don't need to remember this form. Actually, sigma x-intercept a sigma 1 point. Of course, that gives us x-intercept is a sigma so A0. So y-intercept as another point a sigma 0B. Again, given 2 points, look at here. Given 2 points, definitely we can calculate the slope. Of course, you can directly calculate the slope and sigma a change of y over change of x. Calculate a sigma, so negative b over a. So now we have a slope. So of course, we can choose any point passing through. It's very clear. In this case, you want to choose passing through y-intercept. Why? Look at here. We know slope, we know y-intercept. Of course, we can directly build the equation line. So that means what? Final answer is sigma y equals so negative b over a x and a plus y-intercept. That is answer for this one. Of course, if you like to remember formula, this is our so 2-intercept form. If you don't like to remember formula, at least you can understand 2-intercept and sigma 2 points. Of course, given 2 points, quickly calculate the slope. Of course, you can choose any point to pass it through. Clearly, you want to choose passing through y-intercept because we know the slope, we know y-intercept. Basically, we can either build equation line from the form 1. That is how to understand the 2-intercept form. So now see, of course, last one is called the standard form. So it is called the standard. So it is called the standard form. And sigma, so ax and plus by equals c. So a very so common form. So next one, I want to quickly review. So another important topic, this one is the relationship. So relationship. So between 2 lines. So 2 lines. So first situation is. So if so we have 2 lines are parallel. For example, L1 is parallel to L2. So what that means? So that means they have same slope. Always remember this one. So their slopes are equal. So definitely is something super important. If 2 lines are parallel, that means the slope must be exactly the same. So how about two lines are perpendicular to each other? So if we have so two lines are perpendicular to each other, so we have two situations. One is what? Product of slope equal -1. Of course, another one is horizontal, one is vertical. So basically, sigma this one is so sigma. So either the product of slope equals -1. Of course, so one slope is what? One slope so equals 0. Another one is undefined. Basically, we have one horizontal line, one vertical line. Definitely they are so they are perpendicular to each other. So next one, I'd like to quickly so review how to figure the slopes, how to figure the x-intercept, how to figure y-intercept. Definitely something super so common. Finding the slopes, finding x-intercepts and y-intercept. Let's see how to solve this kind of problem. Let's start with our first one about the slope. So talk about slopes, actually what? So there are two different directions. Sometimes the equation line is given, we try to figure the slope. Sometimes we have 2 points, we try to figure the slope. So for both situations, definitely you need to understand so how to solve. So let's start with equation line. So the first situation is you start with equation line. So whatever so forms, so you may start with so equation of line. Always remember, you try to change slope, so intercept form. So it's really doesn't matter study point what. You want to go to this form. So now, of course, the answer is this one. We call M is what? We call M is the slope. That's how you figure the slope. If we have an equation, we start with equation line. So another thing is, how about we start with 2 points? If given 2 points, of course, we are quickly figure the slope is what? Is nothing but change y over change of x, and nothing but y2 minus y1 over x2 and minus x1. So how about figure the intercept? Of course, the x-intercept. In order to figure x-intercept, all to is what? Set y equals 0 and is solve for x. So that is very straightforward. So another one, how to figure the y-intercept? All to is what? Set x equals 0, and is try to solve for y. So make sure you understand how to figure x-intercept and y-intercept. So that is something so definitely super important. So I'm going to give you one example. So try to help you understand. So everything I cover here. So let's start with problem. So 11. First one A. Basically, given a slope equals so -3. So y-intercept equals 2. Let's see how to solve this one. It's very clear. We know the slope, we know the y-intercept. So which form you want to choose, it's very clear. And that's about our so first form. So straightforward. And that's about give us y equals slope -3x and it plus y-intercept. So in 1 second, you figure this answer. That's how you figure this one. So given the slope is 2. So slope is 2. Passing through what? So point 2 at 4. Let's see how to solve so this one. Clearly, it's nothing but our second form. So we know the slope, we know the point passing through. Of course, we have formula to this one, and nothing but y subtract this number, subtract y coordinate is nothing but equals. So slope multiplied with x, and then subtract this one. So usually you don't want to stop here. You want to try to change your final answer in this form. That is a very standard final answer. If you try to write equation line, usually you need to go to this form. So let's quickly change to that form. Of course, it's nothing but give us y equals 2 multiplied x and nothing but 2x. Of course, here we have what? We have -4. Of course, we have -4. Of course, and then move this number to this side become +4. Of course, cancel. Then give a final answer is y equals 2x. So if you get it here, if you're not sure this is right or wrong, actually what all you do is try to check if this equation line satisfies both conditions. So clear the slope equals 2 because what? We already in this form. That means what? The number before x must be equal to slope. Passing through this one, what that means? When x equals 2, y equals 4. Definitely satisfy this equation. That means what? Guaranteeing this is what? Guaranteeing this is our final answer. So make sure you understand how to check your answer. So another one, let's see, as a problem E. So basically what? So given the slope equals 0, passes through -5 at 8. This must be a horizontal line. So imagine slope equals 0, it must be give us what? Must be give us a horizontal line. Passing through this one, that's what that means. That means we have one point on this horizontal line. So keep in mind, if it's a horizontal line, so use your imagination, if a horizontal line, it's very clear, x coordinate could be anything, but y is always fixed to a fixed number. So that means what? The equation line must be y equals a particular number. Y equals what? It must be equal to this number, because what? We know this point satisfies this equation. That means what? Let's see if I give us y equals 8. That is our final answer for this one. So if you get it, it's very, very easy. So basically, another one, slope equals undefined. So we try to figure. So also passes through -5, 8. We try to figure the equation line. So when you see the undefined slope, so quickly recall this is nothing but a vertical line. If the vertical line, what that means y could be anything, but x is always a fixed number. That means what? Equation line must be x equals a particular number equals what? It's very clear, must be equal to this number. That gives us what? X equals -5. So that's how you understand. So this one. So basically what? Passing through. So 2, 1, and 4 as 3. Let's see how to build the equation line. So give us those 2 points. So always remember, if the problem gives you 2 points, right next step, quickly calculate the slope. So don't even think about anything else. Quickly calculate the slope, and that's about change y over change of x. So let's use 3 minus 1. If you use 3 minus 1, of course, that means 4 and 8, so minus 2. Of course, calculate 1, and that's about give us slope equals 1. Once you get a slope, of course, next one is you can choose either point to pass through. So starting point looks different, but after simplify, guaranteeing the final answer is same. So it's really doesn't matter you choose which one. I'm going to choose this one. Of course, now we know the point, we know slope, and that's about our point slope form, and that's about give us y minus this one equals the slope, which is the 1, followed by x, and then minus this point. Quickly simplify to our first form, and that's about give us y equals x. Of course, this is minus 2. Of course, this is plus 1. Of course, that gives us nothing but minus 1. So if you get it here, if you're not sure this is right or wrong, the first way is what? Is if this equation satisfies both conditions. So never try to redo anything here. The best way is, again, is try to see if this equation satisfies both conditions. So when x equal 2, of course, 2 minus 1 give us 1. That means what? Definitely this point satisfies this condition. How about this one? Of course, x equal 4 clearly give us y equals 3. That means what? This point is also on this line. Guaranteeing this is our final answer. So if possible, always try to use different method to check your answer right or wrong. So remember this strategy that gives us final answer. Slope is so -2. So x-intercept is -2. So given x-intercept, and nothing but give us a point. Of course, same thing for the y-intercept, and nothing but a particular point. So of course, if you stick by that direction, we know the slope, we know 1 point. Definitely we have 2. Basically, what is nothing but our second form, point slope form. This is nothing but give us what is -2 as 0. Always remember, for any x-intercept, y coordinate must be equal 0. So of course, you can quickly change this one to -2, 0. So of course, we know the slope, we know the point. Of course, quickly use that one is y subtract this one. Of course, and nothing but y subtract 0. Of course, slope is -2. Multiple with x and then subtract this one. Subtract that one. So don't miss this step. And nothing but of course give us x plus 2. Of course, simplify the is nothing but -2x and then minus 4. So if you get it here, I'm not sure right or wrong. So again, as you want to check if this equation satisfies both conditions. Of course, building in that slope intercept form. The number before x is a slope, so definitely is right. How about x-intercept? All we need is set y equals 0, solve for x. It's very clear that give us x equals -2. So that means what? X-intercept is also right. Clearly, that gives us final answer, so must be true. So that's how you confirm this is a final answer or not. So given So x-intercept is negative 2. So y-intercept is 3. Let's see how to solve so this problem. So we have a form particular for those two intercept. Of course, if you remember the formula, so you can directly plug in that formula, and that's x over so negative 2 and plus y over 3 equals 1. Keep in mind this is not equals 0. That is one way. So you really don't need to remember this form because what? Given two intercept in Nasiba given 2 points. Of course, we already have 2 for the 2 points. You really don't need to remember this one. So I'm going to solve by a second method. So assuming so we know the x-intercept is negative 2. So that means what? That means of course we know 1 point and Nasiba negative 2 as 0. Of course, given a y-intercept is what? Is 3. So that means what? We know the point in Nasiba 0, 3 and not 3, 0. So now it's clear that we have 2 points. That means what? We can quickly figure out the slope and Nasiba change y over change of x. You can use this one minus 1. Of course, this one minus 1. That gives us what? Nasiba 3 over 2. Of course, we don't know the slope. We can choose either point to pass through. It's very clear you want to choose the y-intercept for this problem. Because what? If we know the slope, we know y-intercept. Of course, we directly figure the answer. If you choose as a slope plus x-intercept, of course, we need to use this one. So we need to do more work. That's why the best way is so slope and a plus y-intercept. For this one, definitely want to choose this point rather than this one. In general, you can choose either one. Of course, you will get the same answer. But for this problem, the fast way is you choose y-intercept. Of course, that gives us what? And that's y equals 3 over 2x and a plus 3. So that is our final answer so for this problem. So make sure you understand. So problem 12, a Nasiba try to figure the slope of line passing through 2 points. We try to figure the slope so passing through so point 2, 4, 7, and 6. So for this one, it's Nasiba so formula problem. It's very clear. Given 2 points, we have formula to calculate the slope, and Nasiba change of y over change of x. Always remember, this is Nasiba change of y over change of x. So 6 and minus 4. Of course, this one and minus 1, that gives us 7 and minus 2. So simplify. Top is Nasiba 2, so bottom is 5. That gives us final answer is 2 over 5. So given 2x and plus 3y, plus 12 equals 0. Try to figure the slope, y-intercept and x-intercept. So basically try to figure the slope, so x-intercept and y-intercept. That's a very standard problem. So given equation line, so how to figure out a slope? Of course, look at here. Given the slope, given equation line, how to figure the slope? You have to change to this form. Never assume the number before x is the slope. So if you change to this form, change to the slope-intercept form, the answer is right. Otherwise, never make that assumption. So that means what? Definitely want to try to convert to that form. So of course, move so x and number on one side, leave y on the other side. That gives us Nasiba 3y equals what? Equals negative 2x and then minus 12. Let's divide both sides by number before y. Of course, let's give us what? Nasiba y equals negative 2 over 3x, of course, and then minus 4. So now we change to the slope-intercept form. That means what? The number before x is the slope. Final answer Nasiba negative 2 over 3. That's how you get it here. How to figure x-intercept? All you do is set y equals 0. As you imagine, if y equals 0, Nasiba solve 2x and plus 12 equals 0. Of course, that gives us x is Nasiba negative 6. We have 2 different forms for this answer. You can choose as a number, which is negative 6. Or of course, you can choose a point, which is negative 6 and a 0. Either one is perfect answer. Again, for the x-intercept or y-intercept, you can write as a particular value or as a point. So this is a perfect answer. This is also a perfect answer. How to figure y-intercept? Already set x equals 0. That gives us Nasiba 3y, so plus 12 equals 0. Of course, solve this one, we figure y equals negative 4. Again, you can write this one as a point. At a point in Nasiba 0, so negative 4. This one is perfect. This is also a perfect answer. We have a point. Let's call this A is a 5 and a 4. So we have a straight line. So basically, another line is x minus 2y equals 6. we try to build another line basically parallel to this one. L2 is parallel to L1 and also passes through the point A. And try to build the equation line for the L2. So look at here. Those two lines are parallel. So what that means? That means slopes must be exactly the same. Of course, quickly figure the slope. How to figure the slope for this one? Never assume the number before x is the slope. You need change to this form. Change to this form. Not the number before x is our slope. Of course, quickly change this one. And next, of course, x minus 6 equals 2y. I'm going to move 2y on our side. Let's divide both sides by 2. That gives us nothing but x over 2. So minus 3 equals y. Because we write y equals a number followed by x and plus another number. Of course, now the number before x is the slope. That gives us what? Slope for the L1 is equals what? A slope of L1 is nothing but half. Because they are parallel, that means what? Slope for the second line, let's call this L2, is also equals half. Once we figure the slope, of course, we know the point. There's nothing but our point slope form. Of course, we figure answer, nothing but y minus 4 equals half. Of course, multiply with x minus 5. Let's quickly simplify this one to the slope intercept form. And that's but y equals half x. Of course, this gives us minus 5 over 2 and plus 8 over 2. That's nothing but plus 3 over 2. That is answer for this problem. So make sure you understand this one. So problem 20. So base one. So now those two lines are perpendicular to each other. Try to figure the equation line for the L2. We already figured out the slope for the one. Slope for the L1 is nothing but half. Keep in mind, if two lines are perpendicular to each other, what that means? That means the either product slope equal -1, or we have very special situation. One is horizontal, one is vertical. So of course, that gives us slope of slope of L2. So clearly is -2. So multiply together, it's very clear, give us -1. So now we know slope. Of course, we know the point passing through. Of course, we can quickly build equation line is nothing but y minus 4 equals slope which is -2. Of course, x and minus this one. Of course, minus 5. So quickly simplify is nothing but y equals -2x plus 10 and then plus 4. That gives us what is nothing but plus 14. That is answer for this problem. Find the equation line. Find equation of the line for each situation. So first one. So given slope is -2. So y-intercept equals 4. So next one. So given slope equals 5. X-intercept equals -6. So another one. So given slope equals 7. So passing through, so -2 and 4. So next one. So give us slope equals 0. So passing through 3 and 5. So next one. So give us slope equals undefined, passing through 3 and 5. So next one. So basically passing through 2 points. So one is 1, 1, another one is 2, 3. So continue. So problem 7. Given x-intercept is 4. So y-intercept is -8. Try to figure. So equation or line. So we have L1. So divided by 3x and plus 4y. So plus 12 equals 0. Let's try to figure. Find the x-intercept, find y-intercept, and find what? Find the slope. So that is another important problem. So we have L1 divided to be 2x minus 4y plus 10 equals 0. So L2 is parallel to L1 and passes through point. So -2 and 4. So another one, L3 is perpendicular to the L1, passes through, so 4 and -7. So problem try to figure, so equation line for the L2 and L3. So that is another super important problem. Let's see, I have another problem, this right here. So give it a graph. So this is the graph. So let's call this point is 1. This is -1. So this is y. This is x. Let's write this one as y equals mx and then plus b. So determine each of following quantity, positive or negative. Especially determine is greater than 0, equal 0, or less than 0. So first one is try to determine m is positive, negative, or 0. So next one, how about b? So next one is how about m and a plus b? So next one, so another one, how about so negative m and a plus b? Let's try to solve so those 4 problems. So first one, so given the slope, given the y-intercept, we have the equation for this one. So Nancy power, so slope intercept form, y equals -2x and then plus 4. That's all. So next one, given the slope, given x-intercept. X-intercept is nothing but 1 point. Of course, this point is nothing but so -6 and 0. Of course, we know the slope, we know the 1 point. That means what? We have formula. A nothing but y subtract this 0. Of course, equals slope multiplied with x and then subtract this one. Of course, that gives us x plus 6. So finally, we get y equals 5x and then plus 30. Let's quickly verify this is the right answer. So clearly, this is the slope, so intercept form. So that means what? Clearly, the number before x is the slope. How about what x-intercept? Of course, set y equals 0. Clearly, x give us -6. Guaranteeing this is the right answer. So point slope form. So clearly we have formula is nothing but y subtract this number, of course, equals 7. So x and subtract this number, of course, is plus 2. So convert to the so slope intercept form, and nothing but y equals 7x, of course, plus 14, and plus this number 4, of course, and nothing but plus 18. That is answer for this one. Quickly confirm. So clearly we already change this one to the slope intercept form. That means what? The number before x is the slope. That means this information right. Passing through this one, of course, set x equals -2. Of course, this side give us 4. That means y equals 4. Guarantee satisfy this condition. That means final answer must be right. So slope equals 0. That means what? This is a horizontal line. So very clear. Y must be a fixed number, must be fixed to the 5. So that is answer for this one. So slope is undefined. That means it must be a vertical line. So that means what? X must be fixed to number, must be fixed to this value. Of course, that gives us x equals 3. So given 2 points, of course, next step, quickly figure out the slope. Slope and next step, change y over change of x. Of course, change this one, that give us 2. Of course, change this one, give us 1. Clearly give us slope equals 2. Now, of course, you can choose either point to pass it through. Of course, it really doesn't matter. Let's choose this one, and next step, y minus 1 equals 2, multiplied with x minus 1. I'll quickly simplify. This is next step, y equals, so 2x and then minus 1. So quickly verify if so this equation satisfy both conditions. With x equals 1, with x equals 1, it's clearly y equals 1. That means definitely this point is on this graph. How about x equals 2? Of course, this gives us a 3. Of course, equal y equals 3. That means what? Definitely this point is also on this line. That means guaranteed is right. So given 2 intercept, of course, we have form. Remember formula, that's about x over 4 and plus y over -8 equals 1, not equals 0. So another thing is you can think about this nothing but 2 points. So x-intercept is nothing but, so this is 1.40. Another one, this is nothing but 0 and -8. Now, of course, you can quickly calculate the slope and nothing but change y over change of x. We can use this 1 minus 1, that give us -8, over 0 minus 4, that give us -4. Of course, that give us slope and nothing but, of course, 2. Once you get here, of course, next one is clearly want to choose passing through this point because we have formula. Final answer, nothing but y equals 2x and -8. That should be our right answer. In order to figure out x-intercept, always set y equals 0. So set y equals 0, solve for x, it's very clear. That give us x-intercept is nothing but -4. Of course, all you can write as point is nothing but -4, 0. So how about y-intercept? All you need to do is set x equals 0. Of course, solve for y, then give a nothing but -3. Or of course, you can write a point and nothing but 0, -3. So keep in mind, for the x-intercept, so y coordinate equals 0. For the y-intercept, x coordinate equals 0. So make sure I get this one right. Slope, of course, never assume number before x is the slope. You need to change to the so our slope intercept for they the number before x is the slope. For y equals a negative 3x and a minus 12. Of course, divided by both sides by 4, that give us nothing but so this one. It's very clear. Now this is our answer, negative 3 or 4. Of course, you can choose from here. So we don't know the 2 points. That means what? Definitely we can figure out so the slope. So change y in nothing but negative 3. Of course, change x as 4. Of course, that give a negative 3 over 4. Definitely is right. So quickly figure the slope of first line because it's definitely something very important. Because what? If 2 lines are parallel, that means they have same slope. If 2 lines are perpendicular, that means product of slope equal negative 1. So that means what? Definitely something very important. We need to try to figure slope of the L1. It's very clear. You want to move a negative 4y to this side, become 4y, and then divide both sides by the 4. Now the number before x is nothing but half. We figure slope of L1 is a half. If you try to figure L2, so of course we know the slope, so because they are parallel, that means what? So slope of L2 is also equals half. Passing through this point, now we have slope, we have point, we figure answer is nothing but what? So y subtract this 4 equals what? Equals a slope which is half, x and it minus this one, that give us x and a plus 2. Of course, simplify, this nothing but give us y equals half x. Of course, we have plus 1 here. We have this one to this side becomes plus 4. That gives us plus 5. That is answer for this one. So how about L3? So because L1 and L3 are perpendicular to each other, that means product slope equals negative 1. That clearly give us slope for the L3 is negative 2. Half multiplied with negative 2, that give us negative 1. So that give us y, of course, subtract this point is plus 7 equals negative 2. Of course, x and it minus this point, quickly simplify, that give us y equals negative 2x. Of course, we have plus 8. Of course, move this one to this side, that give us a plus 1. Final answer is y equals so negative 2x and a plus 1. So let's see how to solve this one. Because the graph goes this direction, that means what? Slope must be positive. That means this one must be greater than 0. So how about B? As B a nothing but our so y-intercept. It's very clear. This is what? This is negative. So how about m plus b? Now you need to be very careful because m is positive, b is negative. It's hard to determine this is positive, negative. But let's try to understand what is m plus b. So imagine if x equals 1. So if x equals 1, y equals 1. Y is nothing but m and a plus b. So what that means? That means this point is nothing but m and a plus b. Based on this graph, it's very clear, must be greater than 0. How about the last one? It's very clear. So if you get this one, so how to get it here? It's very clear. Set x equals so negative 1. So if x equals negative 1, of course, y is what? Negative m and a plus b. That means what? This point is negative m and a plus b. It's very clear. Based on this graph, must be less than 0. That is answer for this one. Make sure you get everything right. Geometric sequence. This is another very, very important sequence. Let's try to understand. So what is a geometric sequence? So for the arithmetic sequence, each term plus a fixed number is the next one. Actually, for geometric sequence, each term multiply the same number is next one. So for example, let's go first term is a1. So let's assume multiply a number give us next one. So from here, multiply the r again, give us the next one. So of course from here, and multiply r, that give us next one. And they continue. Always remember r cannot be equal 0. You cannot multiply 0 to get the next one. So next one, so always remember, in a geometric sequence, there's no zero term. There's no zero term. So if you figure out, oh, this term equals 0, definitely something wrong. So you need to quickly check where is that mistake. So another thing is I do need everybody to understand. So R, we call this as common. We call this as common ratio. We call this common ratio. So make sure you remember this one. So I'm going to give you one example. So definitely from here, you understand what is strategy. We solve this one. So for example, 2 to the 10th power and plus 2 to the 11 and plus 2 to the 12 and all the way to so for example, 2019th power. I'll try to figure out these sum. If you track the geometric sequence term, look at here. If you track this one, Track terms only. It's very clear. Each terms multiply 2 is our next one. For example, this one multiply 2 is this one. This one multiply 2 is this one. Of course, continue. So that clearly give us what? If you track the terms, it's nothing but a geometric sequence. So how about if we add everything together, what is sum? So I'm going to call this sum result to be the S. So next one, always remember the strategy is what? We want to multiply both sides by the common ratio. So multiply both sides. Multiply both sides by the common ratio. This is a super important strategy. So super important strategy. So make sure you multiply both sides by the common ratio. Of course, common ratio is 2. So let's multiply both sides by common ratio 2. Let's see, this is 2s, of course, equals what? So this equals 2 to 11th power. Of course, 12 and it's 13. Of course, last one is what? Last one is 2 at 2020. So now you should realize why we want to do that. Because if you multiply each one by 2, so we have so many common terms. Look at here, same. They are same, they are same, they are same. They all same, except this one and this one. If you notice, those two equations have so many identical terms. Definitely you want a difference of them. Because after you do the difference, so the identical terms disappear. That is our strategy. So in this case, let's use the second equation and then minus the first equation. This one minus 1, that give us what? That give us, that give us S. Keep in mind, this one minus entire thing here. So all those terms are same. That means what? When you do the difference, they gone. We only have this one and this one left. We figure the answer is 2020. Make sure you understand this is what? This is minus, because we minus first equation, minus 2 to the 10th power. That is asked for this problem. So another one, I'll try to understand this one. So how about this is 1 and then plus 1 over 3 and then plus 1 over, so 9 and then plus 1 over 27 and then plus all the way to 1 over 3 to 100th power. So let's try to understand. So understand this one. So clearly, if you track the terms, those terms form a geometric sequence because each term multiply 1 over 3 is the next one. This one multiply 1 over 3 is this one. This one multiply 1 over 3 is that one. So that means what? We have a geometric sequence with common ratio 1 over 3. Let's multiply both sides by 1 over 3. We end up with 1 over 3s. Of course, this one multiply 1 over 3 is 1 over 3. This one is 1 over 9. This one is 1 over 27. Of course, last one is 1 over 3, 101. So that clearly, I want to try to do the difference of them because we have so many identical terms. When you do the difference, so actually they all disappear. First equation and minus second equation, of course, s minus 1 over 3s, that give us 2 over 3s. So of course, all those terms disappear except this one and then minus this one. That give us 1 minus 1 over 3, 1 over 3 to 101 power. So next one, our goal is try to figure the s. Of course, so I do like this 3. Let's multiply both sides by 3. We end up with 2s equals 3 and minus 1 over 3 to 101 power. Next one, always divided by both sides by the 2. Of course, is same as 1. So same as half of that one. So same as the half this one. That is answer for this one. Again, remember those two case steps, you should have no problem at all. So multiply both sides by common ratio and it differs. So definitely we are ready to prove 0.9 repeat is 8 that equals 1. 0.9 so repeat is 8 that equals 1. You might feel this cannot be true because 0.99999 keep going. How come this equal 8 that equals 1? So let's try to prove here. So let's start from this side. So 0.9 repeat is nothing but 0.9 and then plus 0.09 and then plus 0.009 and then keep going, of course, never stop. So keep doing that. Now, if you track the terms, it's nothing but what? Look at here. This one multiply 0.1 is this one. This one multiply 0.1 is this one. Now, of course, we end up with what? A geometric sequence with common ratio 0.1. So sum together, let's call this S. Of course, multiply both sides by the common ratio, 0.1 S. Of course, it's nothing but 0.09. Of course, 0.009. And they keep doing that. Let's do the difference. I've got this one minus 1, that gives us 0.9s. Look at here. The only terms still there is 0.9. So this one equal. Of course, you can clearly see. So every terms. So after this one in the first equation, definitely will be so in the second equation. When you do the difference, they all disappear. So now it's very clear. S equals 1. S equals 1. That is answer for this one. Okay, so we want to roll 3 dice at random. So what are the probability sum of those 3 numbers is greater than 4? Uh, 53/54 is right. So for this one, actually is, so we know the total outcome is nothing but 6 times 6 times 6, of course, it's 2016. So sum of 3 numbers greater than 4, definitely we have a lot. So if you feel we have a lot right answers, definitely try to solve this one by complementary counting. So 216 and a minus wrong answer. So the wrong answer is nothing but what? It's nothing but sum is what? Is less equals 4. Don't mean less equal. So first one is sum equals 3. Base 1, 1, 1, 1. We have only one way. So how about sum equals 4? Of course, it's very clear. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, 1, 1. That give us only 3 ways. That means what? We have only 4 wrong answer. Of course, that give us total minimum accuracy is 212. So simplify, we figure out 53/54. So let's stop here.